Lights, camera, and action. Welcome to the superpilotish channel. My name is Graham Wilson, and today in my basement, I will be telling you a few pros and cons of having cameras in the cockpit. And I got this. I was so happy that I got this idea the other day. I was going through the Twitters and the X. And yeah, so someone was wondering about it was a student pilot that was wondering, is it okay to have cameras in the cockpit when training? Well, flight instructor Graham has to chime in on that one. So I got a tip for for a topic for my show, which is always nice to get. And so let's get to it. Like and subscribe, YouTube. Okay. Today, I'm experimenting on my semi-famous now whiteboard uh, about. I'm going to try to do this in landscape. Ooh, look at that! We're getting wide here today. We're going to go over some pros and cons of having cameras in the cockpit. So the first pro over here is, I would say, it's for accident investigation. I mean, anytime there's some sort of an accident, it's always best to have as much information as you could possibly have. And cameras are more that's more information for investigators. Now, hopefully we never get into accidents, but they call them accidents because they happen. And yeah, so that would be one thing that would be pretty good about pretty good reason to have cameras in the cockpit. So, oh, hey, Nanya, welcome to the show. Okay. Now, this is another one that I was kind of thinking of. I'm kind of, I guess you could say I'm kind of semi-retired for as far as being a flight instructor. But I thought at some point there's going to be some flight school somewhere in the world where there's going to be an issue coming up, and with where maybe the conduct of the instructor and the student is not exactly what it should be at a professional level. We'll put it that way. So we'll say pilot conduct. There's oh, am I going to run out of room? Okay, here we go. We'll say pilot conduct. So is the instructor acting in a professional manner? Is the pilot and second off or pilot and first officer, are they acting the way that they should be? And oh, hey, Mona Moore's here too. Buenos dias, and Dustin too. Hi. Okay, so yeah, as far as pilot conduct, it could be a he said, she said thing, or he said thing. And well, if there's no camera there, it's one person's word against another. So, would it be good to have a camera in that scenario? Police have body cams now and stuff. I don't know. It is a, you know, I wouldn't say that I'm a huge fan of it, but it would definitely help in getting to the bottom or the root cause of a problem. So there's that. And of course, this is we're going to do the third pro here. And this is probably why most cameras go into the cockpit, because you want to look cool. So you gotta show off, right? You're on the YouTubes, and you're on the Instagrams, and you're on the Twitters and the Facebooks. So you gotta look cool, right? And you need proof. Pics or it didn't happen, as they say. So okay, that's the only things that I could think of in the argument of pro con. Do we really need cameras in the cockpit? So let's get on to the con. And okay, now here is the biggest example that I can give you. It happened to a student of. Okay, I had an instructor that was teaching this one student how to fly, and I was supervising the instructor that was teaching them. So there was a problem where the student was having a really hard time nailing the landings, like just couldn't get it, like forever. And like, I mean, we all learn at different rates, and so most people, I'd say, 80%, they're right in that range of how many hours and how many landings they've done before they go solo. And yeah, so this guy was just taking a really long time. And I know the guy he wasn't, I don't know, it seemed like just like your normal bell curve distribution of how people are. You got wackos over here, the super brainiacs, in my getting my psychology degree, they talked about the normal curve, the bell curve distribution, and that's all over. How extroverted are you? How introverted are you? How much da 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 da. What's your sanity level like? So this guy was just right in pretty much in the normal part of that normal bell curve for everything, and he wasn't getting it. So I was asking, and now this guy, he was always bringing a camera, a GoPro camera with him in the cockpit. I never really thought about it too much, and the instructor doing the instructing, he said, "Yeah, we just put it on, we turn it on, or, put the suction cup to the window, hit go, and they do their flights and ignore it the rest of the time." Well, I don't know if you can really ignore that camera over there, uh, but the landings were just not coming. And then so the student, like every other pilot out there, if you're when you're trying to learn how to land this stupid thing, you can't do it at first, and it just doesn't click, and you're like, you beat yourself up. So what the student was doing was taking his video evidence, and it was like kind of like a pilot's eye view of the runway, and he was going through and watching and watching and watching him make all these mistakes, and hoping that, if I don't do this next time, it'll work. But what happened was, what he was doing is, and part of flying is just having know what it should look like out there, having a mental picture, as they say. And it's like, okay, if this looks like this out of my windshield, then okay, I'm doing the right thing. If it looks like this at this time, okay, that's the way the instructor did it. And it was perfect. Okay, I got to copy that. So a lot of flight instruction is just kind of copying what the instructor demonstrated, and so and then you get a mental picture of, okay, this is what it's supposed to look like. Make it look like the picture, and that's what most people, they'll do just fine with that. But what this guy was doing was going and looking at his computer all night at all of his mistakes, and which is totally, you're naturally going to be bad at landing at first. Pretty much, you'll make a few flubs. Some are better than others, but yeah, so he was reinforcing a bad mental picture of the way the landings should be. So then that's what I suspected, because to put a camera in there, it's a little deviation from the regular flight training that we would do. So it's like, okay, try taking the camera out, and don't give them any video evidence of making mistakes. So it might help out the self-esteem and confidence a little bit more there too. And yeah, he ended up getting his license and everything was fine, but we had to take the camera out of the cockpit so he wouldn't put that mental picture in there. So that is why, big long story, why we don't want to. Okay, this will take me a while to reinforce bad habits. So if you're having cameras in the cockpit, you can reinforce bad habits. This is during training. Reinforce bad habits. Or even, I don't know. Yeah, I guess you could say bad habits or mistakes or. Okay, you're reinforcing bad habits if you're watching that all the time. However you want to, however you want to attach that to the story that I told. And so that was yeah, okay, there's that one. Okay, now that was for flight training. If you are a high time pilot, you've been flying forever, it's your job, you've already got, you know what to do, and you can go over and look back and go like, okay, that's where I made my mistake, and oh, that's why. Okay, that makes sense. I could see that's why I did that. I can correct that. But at first, I wouldn't. I would say for anyone that's a new student, or even like any any student, I would say no until they have their private pilot's license. Yeah, if you're going for your commercial license or something, sure. But that's my own personal opinion, and I have a little anecdote about why I believe that. Okay, the other one here is overall, it is a distraction. Even though you say, "Oh, I'll just put on the camera and I'll just leave it over there," it's in the back of your mind. It's there. You know you're getting looked at. You know you got to look extra cool. So you might not be, you might not be acting the way you normally would, just if there's a camera there. So we'll say it's a distraction. And it could be a mild to a large distraction. If it falls off and hits you in the face while you're landing or something, that'll mess up, and that could be a cause for accident investigation. What was one of the links in the chain? Oh, he landed, or she landed, the camera flew into their face, and now they couldn't see, and they dinged the nose wheel off a little bit too much. That freaked them out, and we have a bent nose gear. Could it happen? Absolutely. Why? Because I just thought of it. So it probably will happen in one day. That's the way it is with aviation. If you can even remotely imagine it, it's just a matter of time before it's going to happen. So you watch, there's probably a YouTube video out there about a camera falling and they get in an accident. I'll bet you any money. Maybe not on YouTube now, but eventually, yeah, that's the way it goes. So if you can just eliminate that distraction, eliminate that remote possible cause of an accident, eliminate it, right? So that would be a con. Another one here, and I'm thinking more from the perspective of a flight instructor student relationship there. So privacy, not that anything weird is going on in the cockpit, but the thing is, the cockpit, when you're teaching someone how to fly, that's your classroom, and it's a noisy classroom. It's maybe not the best place to have a lecture, but it's there's people, the students making mistakes, and that is part of learning, that students will make mistakes. And new instructors, well, hey, everybody makes mistakes, even a seasoned pro like myself. Sure, I make mistakes, everyone does. And but as you get more experience, you make less of them, of course. But I've I just think about, if there was a camera in the cockpit when I was a brand new instructor, ooh, I'd be getting fired, man. but it's well, not really. I mean, you could say it's a mistake, but it would depend on, things can be, just because there's a video there and you could say, look at this, they did this and that was totally wrong. And it's like, yeah, but dude, it was a mistake. Oops. I don't care. We have it on video. It's all over YouTube now. I'm getting calls from Transport Canada. The FAA is investigating now. Okay, now we can kind of, that kind of leads me into my next one here. So the privacy of that, and who knows if, sometimes when you're in the cockpit, the odd F-bomb can go off, or inappropriate comment here and there, because boys will be boys. And so you don't want that recorded and stuff. So, okay, you can also, we'll say here, get fired for making a mistake. So we'll say get fired. This kind of goes in with the whole privacy thing. Fired. I guess I'm going to say for making a mistake, but it could also be a mistake to fire someone for making a mistake. So we'll just put question mark mistake. Okay. Either you're okay, here we go. Get fired for a mistake. It's either you're making a mistake, the student's making a mistake, the person reviewing the film after, or the video afterwards, is making a mistake. There could be, now the thing is here too, it depends on that. It would depend on the safety culture of the organization. So I would say, I don't know, like it can be pretty professional, like at the airline level, less experience in management, less experience in piloting and crew resource management. it'd be really easy to take something out of context if people aren't used to the idea of non-punitive investigations, or a non-punitive safety culture. We'll put it that way. So, I mean, if you're in the Air Force or something, top notch. I mean, they're born and bred for that. If you're not being non-punitive, you're going to get fired for firing somebody, or go to jail, or lose your wings, or whatever they do in the military. And same with the airlines. They're pretty professional, but I think the state of the airlines now is that a lot of their senior guys are guys and gals are retiring. So that level of management expertise and crew resource management expertise, it's okay. It meets the standards and everything, but it's not. I could see something slipping through the cracks with just a little bit new. Like I said, everyone makes mistakes. Even managers make mistakes, even though they won't admit it, but they do. So that could be something weird. So yeah, but so I think, okay, so those are the cons, the pros and the cons. So let's go over these. As usual, I like to do my little review at the end. Okay, and here we go. On my new landscape kind of thing here. Where can I put this here? All right, what would be the best way of holding this up? I don't know. I'm not used to doing this landscape stuff. Okay, let's try this. Okay, so for the cameras in the cockpit, what are the pros? Okay, it's good for accident investigation, of course. And I'm kind of backwards in my camera here. Okay, pilot conduct. You can kind of prevent those Me Too movements and stuff, and or like a false Me Too accusation, or not that happens that much, but I'm sure it has. And just find out the truth. And then, of course, you will look cool. Of course, of course, you're going to look cool flying a plane. That's half the reason you get your license in the first place, right? Okay, so the cons over here. Oh, cons are over here. All right, here we go. I wonder if you can read that. I could just put, yeah. So here we go. You do not want to reinforce bad habits. Just like the guy that couldn't get his landings down because he was going over it, reinforcing a bad mental image. You do not want that. That cost the guy probably another couple $1,000s to get his license because he was doing that. And you don't want to do that. So, and it is a distraction in the cockpit. We don't want distractions in our cockpits. That could lead to safety issues. And privacy, I don't know. I like my privacy. Doesn't everybody? So, yeah, you're going to get making mistakes. There we go. I'll bring that up there a little bit. So you could get fired for making a mistake because the video is taken out of context, or a manager is unwilling to listen to your side of the story. I just saw this, or it's all over YouTube. Sorry, I know you made a mistake, but the FAA is investigating. I got to let you go, man. So that can happen too. Yeah. So overall, because this one person on Twitter, the X, she was wondering about should she have cameras in the cockpit. I replied to it that you should. It's up to the flight training unit, and it's up to the instructor. I know for the air cadets here in Canada, they have very strict rules. They are under kind of supervision of the Department of National Defense. And so the air cadets, they are not allowed phones, cameras, video cameras, anything in the cockpit, unless it's under very strict supervision and rules. So it's basically don't do it. And if it's good enough for the Air Force, it's good enough for me. So overall, yeah, I would say my opinion on this is I am con. I do not think that cameras should be in cockpits at least for flight instruction purposes at first. Okay, if you're an experienced pilot, yeah, go for it. But be aware that it is a distraction. It's anything weird, any mistakes you make. If you have it on your computer, someone finds it and puts it out on YouTube. Look at this idiot. Well, Yeah, of course. Of course I was an idiot because it was a mistake, "Oh, this guy shouldn't have his license." All the non-pilots are always pretty judgmental about that. But, hey, yep, I'm against it. I don't think any cameras should be in there. I did bring a camera once on my, on an instruction flight, so I will explain that one. It's on, what did I call it? GoPro suction mount fail or something like that, because I was trying to figure out how to put a GoPro into a camera of a guy that I was instructing, but we weren't really actually doing instruction. It was kind of like a warm up flight. I did the takeoff and landing, I believe, and it was just we hadn't flown in a long time, so I said, okay, you just go up, fly the plane, and then anything critical, I took care of it, if I remember correctly. So yeah, it wasn't really. It was more of a fun flight for him. Okay, so and then that was the only time I did it with him too. And then a couple landings that I did into Windsor and into Leamington. That one's out there, and it was on a nice day. It's like, yeah, what the heck? Sometimes you got to break your own rules, and it was just one little thing. And he already knew he was already kind of well into the instruction. So yeah, if you're well into the instruction, take a few selfies or whatever you want to do. But especially if you're learning how to land, no way. Okay, there we go. I think I just outed myself as a hypocrite. Oh well, what the heck? Okay, but overall, nah, don't do it. Okay, what will we do here? I'll go through, see if there's any questions, comments, stuff like that. Okay. Don't pick your nose. What? Did I do that? I don't think I did. I try not to. But yeah, you could have that too. And it'll be all over YouTube or something. That can be kind of gross. Okay. What else we got here? All these guys in the chat talking about snot. Oh well. Here we go. This is a good point by Mona Moore. Nowadays, you can also modify video very easily. Yes. David Proden, the safety doc, he was telling me about how it's starting to become very, like with AI and stuff like that, where there's deep fakes that they can get made. So yeah, that's another one I didn't even think about. Another con would be if you have something on YouTube, they get the AI to it and they do a little deep fake, and next thing you know, hey, here's the video. You lost your job, you lost your license, but I didn't do it. Well, the video says it. So that's another one too. Yeah, there was the safety doc was talking about how one of the students made a deep fake of the principal going off on doing some kind of talking about things that we don't talk about here at the superpilotish channel. And yeah, and then I forget if he got fired or not, but I think he did. But yeah, so I don't know. It's a different world we're in now. Okay, what else we got here? Actually, this is a fun song to play. Cherry Pie by Warrant. It's like pretty cool. One hit wonder. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So that's about it for today. Thanks for showing up, everybody. And yeah, so okay, I'll be back on Monday, and I'm gonna try the exciting world of middle management Monday. I don't know, it might catch on, might be a flop, whatever. I'm not getting paid either way on this. So yeah, so Monday is going to be Middle Management Monday part 2 or episode 2. And yeah, so it'll be back on Monday for sure, because I do this Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon Eastern. And yeah, that's about it. We'll kind of shut her down. So everybody out there, have a great weekend, and thank you for watching. Bye.